Hello, good hunter. Think of a number. 6, 9. Good job. I'm going to predict the future. What you're seeing right now is a republic. This is something that we have from the Korean live stream back in a few weeks ago, which is the roadmap for the next 6 months. I also have the other map over here. I have this over here, and I have some notes. I'm going to talk about this in a little second. If you have not watched the live stream, go for it. It's easy to find. You just have to type this or whatever you want to find it. I will put it on the notes below. If you want to know exactly what happens, you can come to the Solo Leveling Arise next, which I have a summary every single time to do one of these live streams. But either way, you can watch it if you want to.
네.
저번 방송에서부터 내년 계획을 좀 밝혀달라는.
So let me go back to this. I have this in mind over here. Let me start by saying this. The boss raid, roguelike dungeon, max level expansion. So where do I start? Let's go back here to this map real quick. And let's compare this to the other map that I have over here. This is exactly what is going to happen. 50% of the time works 100% of the time. This is the map that I made out of this. I'm gonna make things of anything that I have in mind. It's so difficult. I don't know where to start. So next monarch is going to be Deimos. The problem with this is that Deimos is not a monarch. It is a made-up stuff. People are starting to believe that Deimos is real. Imagination cannot hurt you. I'm gonna go through all these. I don't know how to put this information in. It's gonna be a long video. If you are watching this until the end, you deserve a medal. So we have demos for the January boss. It's going to be in the mid-January. We have the new queen boss for the guild. We have the hidden story for Juggernaut. I don't know how they. It's not how you. This is wrong. Either way, it says Juggernaut. The Lord of the Underworld. This is wrong. This is completely wrong. It's Juggernaut. Gyogp. I don't know how to spell though. This is a word for me. New story Bosom. Knight's Raid. School Raid. This is Juggernaut. It's pronounced Juggernaut. Y-O-G-U. Juggernaut. It's missing the U. This is the real monarch. This is another monarch, but this is confusing. The next is the architect, and for the next 3 months we have the monarch of Naden, which is Beru for the Jeju Island, and we have some characters and shadows. So there are not weapons, but I have a list over here for you to understand what is the deal over here. So I have these characters over here, some new weapons, and what this is: water and fire. When they are coming, I have shadows. I have orcs. I don't know. I should have started with this. Co-op, Jeju Island, nonsense, weaknesses, workshop, question mark. I'm gonna talk about this. Urgent, fire healer breaker, and water breaker. Next DPS, next water, next fire. I carry 20. I don't even know what. Oh yeah, I know where I put this over here. How do I explain this? A lot of people are waiting for Ezreal to be the next hunter, which she is. She's not even done on the files. But we'll see how it goes. So let me talk about this information right here real quick. I'm gonna try to do this as fast as I can because there is a lot to talk about. Let me talk about metas real quick. So I spent almost 3 months waiting for me to get the information that I needed to finally max out my characters. I waited 2.5 months getting my resources, knowing exactly what the Barons is about. I knew that she's gonna be coming for more than almost 2 months because the dark team needed a healer, and I know the weaknesses of this character, and I know exactly what are the strengths of this character because it's going to supplement it. What happened with the lighting is exactly the same. We needed critical hit damage as well, and a buffer and a healer as well. That is not specifically to buffing the entire team, but just specifically to the lighting itself because it's something that Marvel had been working on a second. And all this makes sense later on because knowing the next 6 months is going to have a very big impact on your account. So the dark thing is done. My light thing is done, is bananas. Let me talk about Deimos real quick over here. Deimos, my little friend, is going to be the next Worship of Brilliant Light. WOBL. There is a problem with this. People are starting to believe that Deimos is actually a monarch. Deimos is not a monarch. There are 8 monarchs. Now counting the freaking Sun Jinwoo bullshit that we have at the moment. This guy over here is Baron. We have Jogumont, Tarnak, Lugia, Legia. What is the name of this guy? Rakan, Koresha, Silat, and Aldebaran. What was his name again? Antares. I was very close. Same galaxy. So Antares, Silat, Koresha, Korek, whatever the beast, Legia. One more time. This is the next one. So it's gonna be over here, like this, coming in a circle. So this is the next one. This is gonna be the next one. Maybe Legia the next. This one, this one, this one. I'm saying this because I know the story. So this is gonna be the last one. So I believe it's gonna be this way. All right, now that that is out of my chest, let me go next. So he's gonna be the next WBL. He is not a monarch, to have that in mind. He's gonna be weak to light. And talking about metas, there had been only 2 metas to have in mind. Just 2. One was the water meta, which in addition to the wind meta that we have as a support. But real quick, the meta here was water, the support element was wind. The meta here is dark, the support element is wind. The next meta is light, and the support might actually be dark or might jump to fire. One of those 2. I strongly believe it's gonna be dark, but that's not the most important thing is that the light is a given. Why am I saying this? Because Byron or Vulcan over here was weak to what? Water in the main story. Metus, the first boss in these things, was weak to what? Wind. Baron was weak to what? Dark. Deimos is weak to what? Wind. So the reason I'm saying water at the moment is because in this story, some ants are weak to water. At the beginning of the story, these ants over here in this chapter are weak to water. Let me double check. Where is the element? Yep. So these ants are weak to water, and the big boss over here, which is the Chimera Ant arc from Hunter x Hunter, is weak to fire. So if you pay attention to this picture, you have 3 months. 3 months of what? It's a cooperative Juju raid. But what does a raid looks like? What is a raid exactly? This also says raid. Raid here, raid that. If you pay attention to the first 6 months, or the one that we already have, it says boss raid. Boss raid. This is just the story mode. That's all that it is. Might mean something else. Might not. But when it said a raid, it's confusing the shit out of me. We have to know exactly what it is, because in the live stream, these guys say that they have content for the next 3 months about the Juju Island, and I don't know what to think about this. So light weaknesses, introducing the fire with water weaknesses, so that then you can fight the fire weakness Juggernaut with the light support. That might be a case. The light support over here. So that might be an introduction to the elements that we have not been using for a while, which is water. I will explain why when I go to the characters. So we have light, dark for Deimos. We have the support for the contents, fire, water. That might actually be switched to the simulation gates as well for these 2 elements quite strongly. And the next, which is going to be Juggernaut, is going to be fire with the light support. That's something to have in mind. Maybe water will have a splash instead of one of those 2. I have to wait to see what happened in this story with the ants over here. And after that, we have the good guy over here, the architect. So this says good guy. Yeah, that's how I call him. His defense is gonna be including everything. So he might not be weak to anything, or he might be weak to dark. Why am I saying this? Because he is the subject of light, and just coming out of my butt. For some reason, I believe that there is a big rotation over here. And let's just talk about the characters for one reason. So we have these characters to have in mind. So the first character that is going to be released that we know of is this lady. Ezreal, the one with the yoga pants. You pay attention when you're playing the WBL. She have yoga pants. That's what she. You know what I'm talking about. She is the first character. What do we need? If you pay attention to the main fire team, my fire team is S. As you can see, my main as well is S because I have been waiting for her. I predicted this a long time ago, so I waited for her. I used all my resources on her because I believe the support for the lighting is gonna be afterwards, and because I want Andre to deal a lot of damage, so I don't have to struggle at all for a long time. And I don't have nothing else built, just the dark and the light team. I don't use the wind team. Of course, the water team was the first thing that I needed, but I never finished fully building it. As you can see, the cat is just A1. And the next is fire. So we have this fire, this fire, this fire. They are all level 1. These are not fire. But that's the fire team in order to be introduced by Juggermund. Juggermund. I still call him like the snake, but it's Juggle with that Yogu, Juggermund. Yougumund. How do you write it here? Juggermund. Freaking weird things. So that's what we had with Ezreal. Ezreal might be the introductions of the fire breaker that we desperately need. A breaker that is in pair with the new breakers that we have in the past 3 months. Or she might be the fire one. For some reason, I want to believe that the big guy, Gototo, he is still water. Why do I'm still thinking that? Because the Katana Girl was also a water hunter. And because the rotation is dude. I believe that Andre was a fighter, light fighter, because Cha was the first light fighter that was hype. Now the rotation has been complete. We have all the DPSs for all the elements. We are going back to light. The next one, well, you have a choice. You can come back to do the water one, and then we introduce the fire one, because that is the order. First was Alicia, then it was Yasuo. I believe it may actually be reversed, one of those two. It's tough to say, but he might be water, fire, or fire, water. They have to be introduced this way, because the DPS for water has to be introduced. I was believing it was this one at the beginning, or it might be this lady. So Alicia has to be replaced for something that hits even more, something that deals more damage than a major. It's gonna be a water element, so it can be Gototo, one of those two, or Ezreal. So we have to wait. In the meantime, we have a hole over here. So what is this hole is gonna be filled with? Let me go back to my characters here. We have an original character working on process. So we also have something that we have been doing for a little while over here, which is the introductions of new weapons and new banners that are coming for the old hunters. And have you ever heard one of those? What are the weapons? Here. So have you ever heard one of those sales that everything must go because new stuff is coming? So we have wind over here, we have water. Wind and water. I don't see any fire over here. For some reason there is no fire. But wind and water has to be replaced. So you have to form your team and spend your resources and your money on this, because this has to be sold. You don't have it. This is your time to have your weapon. You might as well spend $1 just to get yourself another copy. That's what they're building right now. And when it's not going to be utilized for a while, now that you don't have to use it, they're giving you some for free. Hey, you can use this, or you can use the element that you actually require. Either way, they're giving you stuff for free. I have no idea what to think about this cat. I'm not going to be pulling for the cat. The cat is going to be coming in a couple of weeks in the draw over here. Right now it's Alicia. I'm not going to be pulling for any of those, not even the cats. As I told you, I already have the water team that is capable enough, even with this cat at A1. And I have my power coming from other sources. So I wait until we have something this capable for the water team that is better than this cat. And another DPS. So that's the thing to have in mind. I don't waste my resources until it is necessary. So let's come back to this, the hunters. So the original hunters, once again, can be water, can be fire. One of those two has to be introduced. The fire one has to be introduced. The fire healer has to be introduced. A fire healer which is in part with the cat, which is in part with Hansemi, which is in part with Orange Crutch. You know what I'm talking about. Breaker and water breaker. We need a fire breaker that is in par with the new breakers. We need a water breaker which is in par with the new breaker. Next DPS, water. Next fire. I'm gonna talk about wind in a second. Okay, fire, water. We have these two. Go to water or fire. I don't know what to think about this. Save your resources. It's gonna be very important. OC hunter number 2. We have another hunter after Goto. I don't know if the next hunter after Goto is gonna be the Katana girl, which is, you know what I'm talking about, the Katana girl with the katana in her hands, which is in the Goto team. Goto team. But another hunter is going to be introduced before her, so he might be the water DPS. This person, and then you have the breaker and then the healer. One of those two. Now that I talk about fire, now that I talk about water, I want to talk about wind, because we have Woe 2 Electric Boogaloo. The legend continues. Woe 2 is a concept art. If you pay attention to the manga, I don't want to take a picture at the moment. I am busy. I'm making a video right now. But we'll have a second version that is already on the works, in the concepts. In the manga, he have an armor. When he's actually serious going to the raids, so he might actually finally deal some damage now that he doesn't have a tie that he has to be taking care of. Thank you for believing in me. And the next one is gonna be Greed from Full Metal Alchemist. Just started. They just started making this guy over here. And this is the next national level hunter. It's going to be a wind DPS. I mentioned fire, I mentioned water. Amamiya is going to be completely replaced with another assassin. He is an assassin. He is a DPS. If he's not, somebody's doing something wrong. I'm gonna talk about Kamish as well. I want to show you a picture just to have in mind. Greed, Full Metal Alchemist, sexy. Yeah. Don't put that in. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's Greed. That's Greed. Hey, that shin. Here you go. Why should I just put the real hunter? But I'm just putting this guy here because he look exactly the same. So it's gonna be the win DPS. So that's what I have for the characters. This is for the next 6 months, and the release of this character is going to be he's going to be right over here. Here it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I didn't do the math. Could be here or could be here. One of those two. It's gonna be for the 1 year anniversary. Yeah, 1 year anniversary. For Xin. Yeah, that's his name, right? I don't remember his name. The Greed. I just call him Greed. So that is that for the characters. I want to talk about the weapons real quick. So now that we are in that, fire weapon plus water weapon. The water weapon has been a joke. I still didn't have Shari on my main account, thankfully. I have plenty of fire dildos though. For some reason, it's A4 already. Fire weapon. We can have a support. There are lack of support for weapon. Now that we finally have a light support weapon, all the support weapons so far have been from Dark. And I know that the water book that we have is very strong. It might actually be used as a support as well. So if the water book is considered a support weapon because it generates freeze and damage DPS, 15% elemental damage DPS, it can be utilized with a very fast strong weapon. We already know that is coming because even the developers have mentioned this, and that is the true Kakashaka Inuacha Kasaka's Venom's Fang. It's gonna be the true Kasaka's Venom Fang, a water dagger. Just like this lance over here. True Demon's Knight Spear. So that's something to have in mind. If that weapon is completely introduced as a water weapon for the guild boss that we're gonna have over here, so if that weapon is introduced here for the guild boss for the water one, you bet your ass that this guy is gonna be water, he's gonna be DPS, is going to be replacing Alicia, and you're gonna bet your ass that water is going to be introduced here. And for one, so water is gonna be introduced over here somehow, somewhere. I don't know in what form or whatsoever. But if that's the case, yes, that's a thing to have in mind. So we have a timeline splitting in 3 different things. We have light, fire, wind. We have light, water, wind. Light, water, wind, light, fire, wind. Dark as a support. One of those two. Difficult to tell exactly. We have to wait until freaking demos comes out. What else do I have? Shadows, Workshop, Go Juju, Fire, Water, Weakness, Origins, Fire, Healer, Breaker, Water, Breaker, next DPS, Water, next Fire, next Wind. Right, now, for the juicy part, if you have been watching all this nonsense, congratulations, you are right to the part which is actually the most important. The only thing that I want to talk about that I don't want anybody to know, but you are listening to this. I want to talk about this little guy right here. Put your shirt on. Where's the other one? I want to talk about this little guy over here. It's called Kamish. Kamish, as you might know, here, this is called Kamish Toothpicks. It's crafted by Kamish Toothpicks for their fangs. For fangs? I don't even remember. I know, he's nuts. He's Kamish nuts. He is the Dragon of Destruction. He is a subordinate of, guess who? The big boy over here. The last big boy. The last monarch. This is a born of this freaking monarch of the dragons. The Dragon of Destruction is the Dragon King. It happens that Kamish have a very strong skill. It's a very strong skill. It's an attacking skill. It's gonna be one of these skills over here. And if memory serves me right, it's gonna be even much better than this one. Not by a long shot, but it's just gonna be better than this one. Maybe by 20% of damage. You have to calculate the damage all over here. That's what I was saying, that this thing is completely overshadowed by this, because this also only have a 25% damage increase, and this also does 3 times more damage than the old one. So it's not really that useful. This as well. There's so much damage. The skill. So we have this skill. What else do we have? We have the shadow. Kami's shadow. It's gonna be something to behold. But it's not just that. We also have the Kami's Toothpicks, which is gonna be a very good pick for the weapon. I am saving tickets. I am saving skills. Whatever you call these things, wrong fragments. Jeez, I use a lot of these things trying to get the freaking new blessings. I hate the system. Save the tickets for the weapon, save this over here, save that over there. Eventually I will have at least 10,000. Eventually I will have at least 5,000 of these, at least, to be saving until that moment. I'm still using a little bit, but I will save this, as I keep saving this as well for the artifacts. And now that I have this in mind, which is gonna be the nuts, the banana, this is gonna be better than the banana daggers, much better. Let me talk about the other thing that I have in mind, is that first, we have the introductions of the cores coming from this. I was expecting the artifacts to be introduced level 95 and level 98 for the cores ones, but we didn't have what the E69, but we didn't have that. Instead, we have cores. Then I was expecting 95 and 98, but then we have this, and then I'm expecting 95 to 98. So I am waiting to save all of my resources, which I don't need at the moment, so I can actually use this for my artifacts, and those things has to be introduced. And we have some timelines to think over here. Can be introduced over here in January, in the middle, because we have 1.4 billion requirements to be able to deal with the simulation gates. 1.4 billion minus all the stuff allow you to have your hunters in around 1.1 billion without the shadows and without the remnant of power. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. So you don't want to use your books. Well, you have plenty of combat power coming your way, because we just don't have the new sets. We also have a fifth set for every left and right set. As you remember back in the days when Alpha Wolf was alive, he managed to give us a picture of the Cerberus staff and all these artifacts that we don't have available at the moment. So you have 5. You're missing the belt, and you have 5 here. You're also missing something over here, so you're missing 2 more sets of artifacts. And in order for you to introduce new levels, instead of just wasting all the levels you already have, well, you might actually waste it, because you are not going to be needing any of these, but you also might as well grab for the new sets one, because you also gotta have another 2 pieces that you didn't even have before. So that might be the reason why they have been holding all those stuff. What else do we have that I can think of that I need to prepare myself off with about? I don't have anything else at the moment. Maybe I do. I predicted that we're gonna reach level 100 at exactly this time, back like 3 to 4 months ago. It was easy to see. There are a lot of things. This will be changed as well. I never used this to tell it. Alright, this has to be changed eventually. The fusion system is going to be changed eventually, because we're gonna have the red ones, the whatever. The next skill is not gonna be legendary. It's gonna be another one. I don't remember the name. But we even had slots over here for the next one. I don't know when they're going to be introduced, but the rates that you have over here are so awful that it's basically you just save them. You're just fusing regularly, but just save as much as you can. Just like when I said 1,600 gems before the system changed. So I got my money's worth. Yeah. What else do I have to watch over the next 6 months of this thing? Because I don't think I have nothing else. Let me double check over here. Yeah. Whoops. So once again, went over here. So yeah, I'm gonna be preparing myself to get the new hunter level skills to the new wind DPS. I keep saying wind DPS for some reason. I don't know why exactly, but since the rotation seems to be coming and handy again with wind, and then it's gonna be doing the next 6 months back to the dark again. When comes Halloween, we're gonna have a new dark team that's gonna be even more bananas than this one. But that's gonna be from 1 year from now. I have stuff to do. If you have any questions or something that I oversee, I don't want to think about the jobs and everything. Something who needs to get money. Yeah, what's that? Alright, I'm done with this. You guys have a nice new year and all that jazz. Don't forget, watch all of my videos 10 times in all of your devices. Tell your friends, families, and enemies. Your cooperation is appreciated.